Your horse is dying beneath you. Not dramatically. It simply can't run as fast as you need it to anymore. Its breath comes in violent bursts. Your legs went numb hours ago. And inside your coat, pressed against your chest, is a sealed order bearing the authority of Genghis Khan. You don't know everything written inside. You don't need to. You know where it must go. And you know something worse. You're already late. Ahead, the steppe seems endless. Then, smoke. Ahead, the steppe seems endless. Then, smoke. A small relay camp used by riders moving between Mongol forces. You pull in hard. Fresh horse. You pull in hard. Fresh horse. Nobody asks if you're hungry. Nobody offers you sleep. Your exhausted horse is taken away. Another is brought forward. You climb into the saddle. Your horse gets replaced. You don't. And you're riding again. What could possibly be important enough to ride like this? To understand that, you have to go back. You grow up on the steppe where riding isn't impressive. It's simply part of being alive. Before you're strong enough to draw a serious bow, you're already comfortable on horseback. You learn to read clouds, find water, remember distant hills, and most importantly, understand when a tired horse has had enough. Your first deliveries are ordinary. A spoken message to another camp, a small bundle for relatives, instructions carried between groups moving across the grasslands. Nobody celebrates when you arrive. Usually, they give you something else to carry. Apparently, medieval express delivery doesn't include weekends. As you grow older, the journeys become longer. You discover that speed isn't simply about riding hard. A camp can move. Rain can erase a route. A swollen river can turn 1 hour into 5. Arriving eventually means nothing if someone needed you yesterday. Then a military officer summons you. He places a small sealed message in your hand. Take this east. You turn to leave. Wait. His expression makes you stop. Do not lose it. A pause. Do not open it. You look down at the seal. This isn't another message between families. This isn't another message between families. Somewhere beyond the horizon, armed men are waiting for what's inside your hand. And for the first time, arriving late won't simply make someone angry. It might change what happens next. The sealed message takes you east. At first, everything goes well. You follow familiar ground, cross a shallow river, change horses once. By sunset, you reach the valley where the officer told you to find the army. There's only one problem. The army isn't there. No tents, no horses, no commander waiting for your message. Just flattened grass, cold ashes, and hundreds of hoofprints leading away. You stare at them. Apparently, nobody told the Mongol army it was supposed to wait for the delivery man. Now, speed means nothing unless you choose the right direction. Several sets of tracks leave the valley. You dismount. Look at the ground. One trail is already soft around the edges. Older. Another cuts sharply through it. Fresh. You find horse dung that hasn't frozen yet. Not exactly glamorous intelligence work, but it points northeast. You ride. Darkness arrives before you find them. The temperature drops. Your fingers stiffen around the reins. Eventually, a faint glow appears beyond a ridge. Fires. Hundreds of them. You approach carefully until mounted sentries emerge from the darkness. One demands your name. Another wants to know who sent you. You show the seal. Everything changes. Nobody cares about you anymore. They care about what's inside your coat. You're taken through a camp that seems to be preparing to disappear again. Men tighten saddles. Bundles are being loaded. Horses are gathered. You finally reach the commander. He breaks the seal. Reads. His expression changes. That's all. No speech. No explanation. He immediately calls for his officers. Orders begin moving through the camp. Riders mount. Men who looked ready to sleep are suddenly preparing to leave. You stand there covered in dust, trying to understand what just happened. You carried a few lines across the steppe. Now hundreds of men are changing direction because of them. The commander looks up. For the first time, he actually notices you. How long did this take? You tell him. He thinks for a moment, then reaches for another sealed message. Good. He holds it toward you. Let's see if you can do it faster. Let's see if you can do it faster. The new message must reach a commander far to the west. Not tomorrow. As soon as your horse can carry you there. You leave before your breathing has returned to normal. By sunrise, the animal beneath you is soaked with sweat. Every instinct says push harder. Experience says don't. A dead horse delivers nothing. You loosen the pace on steep ground, let it drink briefly at a stream, then drive forward again when the land flattens. Hours later, you reach a supply point used by military riders. You don't ask for food. Fresh horse. A handler takes one look at your seal and brings out another mount. You transfer the message. Check the saddle. Climb up. Your legs strongly object to the entire arrangement. Nobody consults them. The second horse is faster. Unfortunately, the weather has noticed. Cold rain sweeps across the open steppe. Your clothes become heavy. Water runs down your back. Mud grabs at the horse's hooves. You stop trying to stay comfortable. Now you concentrate on staying awake. At the next stopping place, someone hands you warm broth. You drink half while another horse is saddled. The other half remains in the bowl. Apparently, lunch is now measured in seconds. By the second night, you begin forgetting small things. How many horses you've ridden? When you last slept properly? Whether that pain in your back started yesterday or has simply always existed. But you've learned something important. The fastest messenger isn't the man who rides one horse hardest. He's the man who knows when to leave it behind. Fresh animals keep carrying the same exhausted rider forward. When you finally arrive, a commander breaks the seal while you're still struggling to stand straight. He reads twice. Immediately he orders several riders summoned. No celebration. No congratulations. Just movement. Again, you start toward a fire hoping to sleep. Messenger. You stop. The commander is holding another packet. This one is wrapped more carefully. Stamped with a seal you've seen officers treat with unusual respect. Your exhaustion suddenly matters less. Where did this come from? The commander looks at you. The Khan's camp. He places it in your hand. And this one cannot be late. And this one cannot be late. You slide the packet inside your coat. You don't ask what's written inside. By now you've learned that curiosity is not part of the job. At the first military post, a guard blocks your path. Name. You give it. Nothing. Who sent you? You explain. Still nothing. Then you show him the seal. His expression changes immediately. The barrier opens. A fresh horse is brought forward before you even request one. Nobody suddenly respects you. They respect the small mark pressed into the message against your chest. Honestly, it's doing better socially than you are. The same thing happens farther west. An officer is arguing with several soldiers when you arrive. He waves you away. I'm busy. You show the packet. He stops mid-sentence. Within moments, you're given water directions and another mount. Nobody asks where you were born. Nobody cares how long you've been riding. Your name means almost nothing here. The seal means everything. And you're beginning to understand why protecting it matters. When you finally reach the command camp, 2 guards escort you directly through lines of waiting soldiers. A senior commander takes the packet, breaks the seal, reads perhaps 6 lines. That's enough. He calls for his officers. A map is unrolled. Markers move. Orders are spoken. Outside horns sound. Men who were unloading horses begin loading them again. 3 riders leave in 3 different directions. Then 10 more. Across the camp, hundreds of soldiers begin preparing to move. You stand near the entrance watching the entire place change shape. You carried no sword into battle. You gave nobody an order. You didn't even know what the message said. Yet a few lines inside your coat have just moved more men than you could count. You expect another ordinary delivery. Instead, the commander dismisses everyone except you and 1 officer. He produces a smaller packet. No destination is written on the outside. This does not go through the usual hands. You wait. He names the man who must receive it personally. A senior commander traveling with forces near the frontier. No substitutions. He places the packet in your palm. If he has moved, the commander's fingers close around yours. You find him. This time, nobody is simply waiting for news. They're waiting for a decision that cannot pass through anyone else. If he has moved, the commander's fingers tighten around yours. And you find him. This time, finding him isn't the real problem. Reaching him before the river is. Near the frontier, you begin seeing signs of movement everywhere. Empty grazing ground, fresh wheel ruts, scouts riding south. By midday, you reach a recently abandoned camp. The fires are still warm. A soldier gathering equipment points toward a distant ridge. They left this morning. Where? The crossing. Your stomach tightens. Beyond that ridge lies a wide river. If the commander crosses before you reach him, catching his column could cost half a day. The message might arrive intact. It might also arrive useless. You don't chase blindly. You've made that mistake before. Instead, you ask which units left first, where the horses were watered, which crossing they're using. Then you choose a shorter route across harder ground. Your mount is tired but not finished. You keep enough speed to close the distance without destroying the animal beneath you. Experience has made you less dramatic and much faster. From the final ridge you see dust, hundreds of cavalry below. The first horses are already entering the river. You ride toward the rear column. A guard blocks you. You show the seal. He points ahead immediately. No questions. Another officer gives you a fresh mount. You race alongside the moving column until someone finally points toward a cluster of senior officers near the water. You dismount, nearly fall, recover, very dignified. The commander takes the packet directly from your hand. He breaks the seal, reads, stops. His eyes move from the message to the opposite bank. Then he raises one hand, orders pass down the line. The crossing slows. Several officers gather around him. Other riders leave carrying new instructions. That's all. No celebration. But you arrived before the moment passed. For most of your life, you thought this job was measured in distance. Now you understand. It's measured in time. Tomorrow the message would contain the same words. It simply wouldn't mean the same thing. Years of riding have taught you that. They've also left one knee aching whenever you dismount. And lately, the fresh-faced riders waiting at the camps seem younger every season. One morning a boy takes a packet beside you. He mounts in a single effortless movement. You watch him disappear across the steppe. Then you place one hand on your aching leg and realize speed may be carrying on without you. Speed doesn't leave you all at once. First mounting takes an extra breath. Then your knee begins complaining after long rides. Your back needs a night beside the fire instead of an hour. You can still ride, just not like the boys who seem to fly into the saddle without thinking. Gradually, the longest assignments go to them. You stop arguing. Experience teaches you when a race is already lost. Your work changes. You check saddles, choose horses, tell younger riders which riverbank becomes useless after heavy rain, and which valley looks shorter on a map than it feels on horseback. Sometimes they listen. Sometimes they return wet enough to wish they had. Either way, you stay useful, just differently. One cold morning, hoofbeats hammer toward the camp. A young messenger arrives covered in dust. His horse is breathing hard. He barely reaches the ground before shouting, "Fresh horse." For a moment, you're young again. Numb legs, dry mouth, a message pressed against your chest. No time to rest. You lead out another horse. Check the girth. Hand him the reins. He climbs on immediately. Seconds later, he's disappearing across the steppe. You watch until horse and rider become a dark speck against the grass. For years, fresh horses replaced the exhausted ones beneath you. Eventually, the riders are replaced too. History will remember Genghis Khan, his generals, his armies, the enormous distances they crossed. Almost nobody will remember your name. That's fine. You were never the destination. You were what moved between them. A horse, a road without roads, a few important words, and a race against the one thing no messenger could outrun: time.